A Bronx Tale, 1993, once melted the hearts of millions with its powerful story about youth, family, and life-changing choices set against the vibrant backdrop of the Bronx in the 1960s. But did you know that nearly 30 years later, many of those once familiar faces have changed so much you might hardly recognize them? Some have reached glorious heights, while others have fallen into the shadows of private tragedies. Get ready to be shocked and drawn into dramatic, emotional stories you've never heard before. Let's get started. Robert De Niro as Lorenzo Anello. Robert Mario De Niro Jr. was born on August 17, 1943, in New York. In 1993, at the age of 50, he both directed and played Lorenzo Anello in A Bronx Tale, the principled bus driver father determined to keep his son away from the mafia's grip. The role mirrored the discipline and moral values De Niro upholds in real life. Yet behind that image lay a personal life filled with breakups, tension, and wounds that never fully healed. A career crowned with 2 Oscars and countless iconic performances did not shield him from life's storms. His marriages to Diana Abbott and Grace Hightower both ended bitterly, sparking prolonged legal battles, accusations of infidelity, and financial disputes costing millions. Just when it seemed things had settled, his family was struck by new tragedies. His son, Elliot, was diagnosed with autism, and in 2023, his daughter, Drenna, lost her 19-year-old son, Leandro, to a fentanyl overdose. These successive losses deepened already strained family ties, leaving emotional gaps that were hard to fill. The pressures of personal turmoil, combined with his demanding career, took a toll on his health. In 2003, De Niro was treated for prostate cancer, and in 2021, he suffered a serious leg injury after a fall on the set of Killers of the Flower Moon, requiring surgery and a lengthy recovery. His career constantly demanded a high work rate, while time with family grew scarce, widening the distance between him and his loved ones. Now, at the age of 82, Robert De Niro continues acting, running the Tribeca Film Festival and managing the Nobu restaurant chain. With an estimated net worth of $500 million amassed from acting, the restaurant business, and real estate, he stands as proof that even after the deepest falls, a true artist knows how to rise again, keep moving forward, and leave an indelible mark both on screen and in life. Lillo Brancato as Calogero Anello. Lillo Brancato Jr. was born on August 30, 1976, in Bogotá, Colombia. In 1993, at the age of 17, he portrayed Calogero Anello in A Bronx Tale. A teenager torn between the integrity of his father Lorenzo and the dangerous allure of mob boss Sonny. The role transformed Brancato from an unknown teenager discovered on a beach into one of Hollywood's rising prospects. But just as the spotlight shone brightest, the shadows of his personal life began to creep in. Early success led Brancato into a lifestyle of partying, alcohol, and drugs by his mid-teens. He quickly developed cocaine addiction and, by his 20s, was hooked on heroin. His film career seemed poised for growth with appearances in The Sopranos and other major projects, but his chaotic private life pulled him into a downward spiral. On December 10, 2005, with accomplice Stephen Armento, he attempted to break into a house in the Bronx, leading to a shootout in which NYPD officer Daniel Enchautagui was killed. Although Brancato did not fire the fatal shot, he was convicted of first-degree burglary and sentenced to 10 years in prison, abruptly ending his promising young star image. His years in prison were marked by self-destruction. He continued using drugs, nearly died from a heroin overdose, and was seriously injured by gunfire during the 2005 incident, losing dangerous amounts of blood. Isolation and guilt eroded both his physical and mental health, while his family was drained by legal fees and medical costs. When he was released on December 31, 2013, Brancato walked out to a destroyed career, a tarnished reputation, and an almost empty bank account. Today, At the age of 49, Lillo Brancato says he has been sober for 11 years, working his way back with small roles in Back in the Day, Fifth Borough, and giving talks about addiction and prison life to warn young people. With a net worth of only about $10,000, he lives far from the glitz of his early fame. While his path back to stardom is nearly impossible, Brancato continues to persevere, treating every moment in front of the camera as a chance to atone for the mistakes that cost him both his youth and his future. Nicki Blair as Jerry. Nicki Blair, born Nicholas Macario on July 26, 1926, in Brooklyn, New York. In 1993, at the age of 67, he appeared in A Bronx Tale as Jerry, a background character in the neighborhood scenes, helping to recreate the distinctive Italian-American atmosphere of the Bronx in the 1960s. Although the role was very small, his presence, combined with the natural demeanor of a Brooklyn native, added an authentic touch to the film's setting. Blair was well known for his supporting roles, yet his real life was far more turbulent than audiences ever saw on screen. From a young age, Blair fell into heavy drinking and smoking, habits that eventually set the stage for the liver cancer that would claim his life. Although he once shifted to business, opening Nicki Blair's restaurant in Los Angeles and turning it into a hotspot for celebrities, that success didn't last. In 1990, the restaurant went bankrupt due to poor management and mounting debts, forcing him to sell off all his assets. Family tragedies only deepened the weight on his shoulders. 2 failed marriages left him estranged from his children, while ongoing financial pressure repeatedly drove him into despair. Blair also became caught up in gambling, particularly in Las Vegas, where he lost his remaining savings. Each return to a film set brought him a small sense of comfort, even if it was just for a few seconds on screen, because acting was tied to his earliest passion. On November 22, 1998, Nicki Blair passed away in Los Angeles at the age of 72 from liver cancer. At the time of his death, his net worth was only around $100,000, a far cry from the days when his restaurant was bustling and his supporting roles were steady. He left behind the image of a colorful character actor who brought the grit of New York's streets to the screen, and a real-life story full of sad turns that Hollywood rarely tells. Chazz Palminteri as Sonny Lo Specchio. Calogero Lorenzo, Chazz Palminteri, born on May 15, 1952, in the Bronx, New York. In 1993, at the age of 41, he both wrote the screenplay and played the role of Sonny Lo Specchio in A Bronx Tale, a powerful yet complex mafia boss who becomes a second father figure to Calogero. This central character instilled both fear and life lessons, and it remains the role most closely associated with Palminteri's career. Behind the spotlight, Palminteri experienced years of hardship, working as a nightclub bouncer and bodyguard just to make ends meet. Growing up in the Bronx, he witnessed violence from an early age, even seeing a murder at just 9 years old, which left a lasting sense of insecurity and survival instinct. When he completed the script for A Bronx Tale, he was adamant about keeping the role of Sonny for himself, rejecting multiple offers from studios that wanted to buy the story without letting him play the part. This determination nearly cost him everything, as major studios turned their backs on him, leaving him on the brink of bankruptcy. His heavy smoking habit and fiery temper sometimes led to behind-the-scenes conflicts, while his personal life was strained by financial pressures during the early stages of his career. Even after achieving success, he faced minor controversies, including accusations from some viewers that the script contained racial bias. These struggles and personal hardships ultimately became the raw material he used to shape Sonny, a character both cold and kind, reflecting the darkness and light of the place he came from. By 2025, at the age of 73, Chazz Palminteri remains active in acting, runs the Mulberry Street Pizzeria restaurant chain, and appears in television projects. His net worth is estimated at around $16 million, earned from acting, writing, and business, allowing him to live comfortably after decades of hard work. Joe Pesci. as Carmine. Joseph Frank Pesci, born on February 9, 1943, in Newark, New Jersey. In 1993, at the age of 50, he appeared in A Bronx Tale as Carmine, a mysterious mafia figure who only appears briefly at the end of the film, but manages to convey deep respect for both Sonny and Calogero, clearly portraying the criminal hierarchy within the neighborhood. Although it wasn't a leading role, Pesci's short but commanding presence added significant weight to the scene. His career was built on intense gangster portrayals, but his personal life was marked by shocking setbacks. 3 failed marriages left deep scars, particularly his 1992 divorce from Claudia Haro following allegations of domestic violence and infidelity, which led to a bitter custody battle. Pesci, known for his unpredictable temperament, once shattered glass on the set of Goodfellas, injuring himself in the process. Adding to his troubles, in 1980 he suffered a broken neck while training for Raging Bull, a long-term injury that affected his health, and by 1999 he stepped away from acting due to exhaustion. During his retreat from Hollywood, Pesci fell into depression and near isolation, avoiding the media and most of his industry friends. He occasionally appeared at small music events, but turned down the majority of acting offers, further fueling rumors about his real-life connections to the mafia. It wasn't until 2019 that Pesci returned to the screen with The Irishman, reuniting with Robert De Niro and Martin Scorsese, a comeback that made it clear he would only act on his own terms. Now, at the age of 82, Joe Pesci lives a quiet life in New Jersey, spending most of his time with family and focusing on music. His net worth is estimated at around $50 million, accumulated from acting and 3 studio albums, a legacy from a career that, though not long, left an indelible mark. Francis Capra as Calogero Anello. Francis Cordero Capra, born on April 27, 1983, in New York and raised in the Bronx. In 1993, at the age of 10, he was discovered by Robert De Niro and Chazz Palminteri and cast as young Calogero Anello in A Bronx Tale. This version of the character was innocent and pure, setting the stage for the central conflict between a father's integrity and the magnetic pull of Sonny, a brief but pivotal role that laid the emotional foundation for the entire story. For Capra, it was an unexpected first step that took a poor Bronx kid into the world of cinema. Capra's childhood was far from peaceful. His father, an addict, was absent for most of his life and was shot to death in 2003, leaving a huge void in the family. Living with his mother Anne-Marie and his siblings, Capra learned self-reliance early on, but also stumbled into mistakes, experimenting with light drugs in his 20s before deciding to quit. In the early years of his career, he focused on playing streetwise teens, later making his mark as Eli Weevil Navarro in Veronica Mars. In 2004, an on-set accident while filming Veronica Mars left Capra with a serious knee injury, forcing him to take time off and slowing his career momentum. While he avoided major scandals, he still faced pressures and disadvantages from the entertainment industry's bias against mixed ethnicity actors like himself. Nevertheless, Capra stayed committed to the craft, branching into film production with his company Take Off Productions, while also taking guest roles in Crank, The O.C., Friday Night Lights, and Heroes. Today, at the age of 42, Francis Capra has a net worth of around $1 million, largely from Veronica Mars and other television projects. He lives a private life, focusing more on family and creative work behind the scenes than on chasing the spotlight. Taral Hicks as Jane Williams. Taral Hicks was born on September 21, 1974, in the Bronx, New York. She made a memorable mark in A Bronx Tale, 1993, at the age of 19, playing Jane Williams, a kind-hearted, intelligent African-American girl who becomes Calogero's love interest. Her character represents love overcoming cultural boundaries and harsh neighborhood prejudices in 1960s Bronx. Hicks's appearance not only added sweetness to the story, but also provided a rare human depth to the narrative. Although her career began with great promise, Taral Hicks soon faced many obstacles. After a few film and television roles, she shifted her focus to music, signing with Motown and releasing the album This Time in 1997. Her cover of the classic song Silly brought her attention, but the remaining tracks failed to gain traction, causing the album to underperform commercially. The disappointment from this passion project led Hicks into a period of depression, and she gradually lost her motivation to pursue a singing career. In the 2000s, Hicks continued to face challenges. Her marriage to Lauren Dawson, which began in 2001, ended amicably but was overshadowed by rumors of infidelity, which she never publicly confirmed. These continuous personal struggles led Hicks to step back from the spotlight, living a more private life while focusing on family and nurturing her faith. She also expressed an interest in pursuing gospel music. Now at the age of 51, Taral Hicks has an estimated net worth of around $400,000, earned from her acting, singing, and sporadic artistic projects. While no longer in the limelight, Hicks remains fondly remembered by fans of A Bronx Tale, and her story serves as a testament to the roller coaster journey an artist can face, reaching the peak early, only to confront the harsh trials of show business. Kathrine Narducci as Rosina Anello. Kathrine Narducci, born and raised in an Italian-American family in Italian Harlem, New York. In 1993, at the age of 28, she unexpectedly entered the film industry when she brought her son to an audition for A Bronx Tale and was cast as Rosina Anello, a strong, loving mother who, alongside her husband, helps keep Calogero away from the dangers of crime, standing in stark contrast to the influence of Sonny. This role not only opened the door to her acting career, but also provided her with an opportunity to step away from the losses in her real life. While her career started well, Narducci soon faced a major personal shock. In 1995, she lost her husband suddenly to a heart attack, leaving her to raise her son alone in financial hardship. She developed a smoking habit to cope with the stress, which lasted until she finished The Sopranos. As she worked to stabilize her life, she continued to take supporting roles in various TV shows and films, steadily building her image as an actress linked to mafia stories and Italian-American families. Despite always maintaining professionalism, Narducci encountered a small dispute with HBO over pay during her time on The Sopranos. Additionally, a foot injury on set temporarily sidelined her, but it did not significantly affect her career. Over the following years, she appeared in Chicago, Overcoat, Jersey Boys, The Irishman, Capone, and Godfather of Harlem, continuing to solidify her place in crime family films. Her perseverance allowed her to maintain a stable standing in an industry that is especially harsh on women over 40. By 2025, at the age of 60, Kathrine Narducci continues to act, with an estimated net worth of around $1 million, largely from her role as Charmaine Bucco in The Sopranos and mafia-related film projects. From a single mother who stumbled into acting, she has turned that opportunity into a lasting career, and her experiences with loss and hardship have given emotional depth to the roles she is remembered for today. Dominic Lombardozzi as Nicky Zero. Dominic Lombardozzi was born on March 25, 1976, in the Bronx, New York. In 1993, at the age of 17, he was chosen by Robert De Niro to play Nicky Zero in A Bronx Tale, a rebellious teenager and Calogero's friend, representing the tempting and dangerous path the young boy could fall into. Though his role was small, Lombardozzi clearly portrayed the essence of Bronx street youth, adding authenticity to the film and opening the door to his acting career. Growing up in the Bronx, Lombardozzi witnessed the darker side of urban life. Many of his childhood friends died young due to street violence, leaving deep emotional scars. When he entered acting, he brought that life experience with him, giving depth to the gritty street roles he would later play. His success came through major TV roles such as Herc in The Wire, Ralph Capone in Boardwalk Empire, and Tony Salerno in The Irishman. However, his journey was not without setbacks. During an action scene in The Wire, he injured his shoulder, forcing him to take a brief break from filming and disrupting his work schedule. In real life, Lombardozzi keeps a low profile and has avoided major scandals. He admits to having a social drinking habit, especially during meetings with colleagues, but always keeps it within limits to avoid health issues. His life experience and discipline have helped him become a trusted face in the film industry, particularly in crime action projects, where he easily blends into his characters. Now, at the age of 49, Dominic Lombardozzi has a net worth of around $2 million, largely from The Wire, Ray Donovan, and various other films and television projects. He continues to appear regularly on screen, remaining a familiar face in crime and drama films, proving that even a small role at the age of 17 can serve as the foundation for a long and successful career. Ron Karabatsos as Big Greek. Ronald Christ Karabatsos was born on April 22, 1933, in Elizabeth, New Jersey. In 1993, at the age of 60, he appeared in A Bronx Tale as Big Greek, a supporting character in the Bronx neighborhood, contributing to the vibrant depiction of the community. Despite the small role, Karabatsos's presence helped authentically recreate the complex life of the bustling yet challenging neighborhood. Karabatsos's journey from police officer to actor was not easy. He was often turned away from roles because of his appearance not fitting Hollywood standards, which limited many career opportunities. In 1990, a serious car accident left him with a broken leg, disrupting his acting career and forcing him into a long period of recovery. Additionally, a failed restaurant investment in 2000 led Karabatsos to bankruptcy, bringing about increasing financial pressure that added more strain and hardship to his life. Health and financial challenges continuously wore Karabatsos down, as diabetes caused by years of poor eating habits began to take a serious toll on his body. The pressure from his personal life, coupled with career setbacks, made it difficult for him to maintain his mental and physical well-being in his later years. These experiences shaped the image of a man who, despite adversity, remained resilient in the face of life's trials. Karabatsos passed away on April 17, 2012, in Beaumont, California, just days before his 79th birthday, due to cardiovascular complications related to diabetes. At the time of his death, his net worth was around $200,000, a modest sum that reflected the series of life events he had endured, but also served as proof of his resilience in transitioning from a police officer to an actor, leaving a lasting mark on those who loved film. Giannna Palminteri as Tina. Giannna Palminteri was born on November 2, 1962, in Hazlet, New Jersey. In 1989, at the age of 27, she joined A Bronx Tale playing the role of Tina, Jane's mother, who opposes her daughter's interracial relationship with Calogero, symbolizing the deep cultural tensions within the Bronx community at the time. While her role was small, it helped highlight the societal barriers the characters faced. Gianna's life was no stranger to struggles and pain. In 2015, she fought a battle against breast cancer, undergoing several rounds of difficult treatments and, fortunately, recovering. Despite her health setbacks, she always prioritized her family, even choosing to sacrifice her artistic career to care for her husband and children. Her intense focus on family led her to forego personal growth opportunities, creating significant inner turmoil. Alongside her husband, Chazz Palminteri, Giannna built and maintained a stable life. Together, they currently own a net worth of approximately $16 million, largely from the Mulberry Street Pizzeria and Chazz's artistic projects. Their strong relationship and mutual support have been a vital anchor for Giannna, helping her overcome difficulties and maintaining her faith and hope during the turbulent years. By 2025, at the age of 59, Giannna Palminteri continues to lead a simple lifestyle deeply rooted in family. She continues to support artistic projects while fulfilling her role as a mother to Gabriella and Dante. Her story is a testament to the strength of perseverance and love in life, as well as the silent voice of the women who quietly stand behind the scenes. Eddie Montanaro as Eddie Mush. Eddie Montanaro was born on May 21, 1929, in New Haven, Connecticut. He played himself in A Bronx Tale in 1993 at the age of 65. His portrayal of Eddie Mush, although small, helped bring authenticity and humor to the Bronx community depicted in the film, adding life to the backdrop. The fact that Robert De Niro invited Montanaro to play himself further increased the film's realism and value. Montanaro's life off-screen faced many challenges in his later years. A heavy smoker for many years, he was diagnosed with lung cancer, and his health began to deteriorate significantly. His worsening condition not only caused physical pain, but also limited his daily activities, forcing him to rely on the help of family and doctors. These continuous hardships added mental and physical pressure, and Montanaro struggled every day to maintain his health while dealing with increasing loneliness. Additionally, financial instability weighed heavily on him. His spending exceeded his income, and with no stable acting contracts, Montanaro gradually fell into bankruptcy, marking a difficult economic phase. The financial strain, coupled with health issues, created a vicious cycle that made his life even more difficult and diminished his opportunities to return to the arts or maintain positive social relationships. The isolation and financial struggles were among the greatest challenges Montanaro faced in his final years. Eddie Montanaro passed away on August 5, 2007, in Hamden, Connecticut, at the age of 79 due to complications from lung cancer. His net worth at the time of his death was nearly negative, reflecting the hardships he had endured. Nonetheless, he left behind the image of a down-to-earth man, deeply connected with the Bronx community, and contributed to the genuine beauty of A Bronx Tale. Do you think the people who made A Bronx Tale would still surprise you when reflecting on their lives today? Leave your thoughts in the comments, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to ensure you don't miss more heartfelt and emotional stories like this one.